Hi dronies, Glenn here, how you doing? Today I'm going to give you some of my hot drone cinematography tips to help you get greatness from your drone videos. So keep watching to find out more. Let's get started. Right then, so today we will be going over some of my hot tips to get your drone cinematography from looking like this to looking something more like this. We will show you some of the various flying techniques and look at the different maneuvers to capture cinematic footage, such as orbits, reveals and flyovers. We will have a dive into the camera settings, looking at the optimal settings for different lighting conditions and to look into the different types of shots such as panoramic and tracking. And then we will finish up at looking at the legal and safety considerations and look at the drone regulations, safety measures and responsible flying practices. Stick around to the end of the video though to get a bonus hot tip which I will reveal then, and will put the final touches to your cinematic drone footage, so stick around till the end. So let's move on to location scouting. Unusual and remote locations will always be the best places to get unique drone shots, but that's not always possible guys, so let's look at some of the other ways you can still get some amazing footage. Old buildings. Many old buildings boast intricate designs, ornate details and craftsmanship that's not commonly seen in modern construction. They tell stories of different architectural eras and styles. They often carry a rich history, having witnessed various events and eras. They're a tangible link to the past, offering insights into how people lived, worked and built structures in earlier times. Their enduring beauty stands the test of time, attracting admiration and fascination from people who appreciate their resilience and enduring appeal. For that reason, old buildings are a great place to take drone footage. City centres. Many city centres boast historic landmarks, iconic buildings and unique architectural designs that showcase the city's history and character. Many city centres boast well-designed public spaces such as parks, squares, great-looking buildings. These areas provide a place for taking some amazing drone footage. There is usually a city centre local to us all, so again another easy location we can all take advantage of to take your drone on an adventure. Football and other stadiums. There's an electric energy in sports stadiums that comes from passionate fans, cheering and the thrill of the game. It's infectious, it can be an incredible experience to be a part of, especially if you're able to see this from a drone's perspective. Many stadiums boast unique designs that make them stand out. Some are ultra modern with sleek lines and futuristic elements, while others incorporate historical and cultural elements into their architecture. Some stadiums have iconic features that become symbols of the venue itself. This could be anything from a distinctive roof structure to a particular seating arrangement, or even the way the stadium integrates its surroundings. The lay of the lights during events can transform stadiums into mesmerising spectacles. The way stadium lighting interacts with the surrounding environment can create a captivating experience, especially when seen from a drone. So yes, that's why stadiums and other sports arenas are a great place to take your drone footage. Bridges. Now bridges will depend on your location of course, but if you have access to a nice one, then bridges are pretty remarkable structures. They symbolise the idea of overcoming distances and bringing together separate entities. They showcase human innovation and engineering prowess. The way engineers design bridges to span across gaps, rivers and valleys, it's truly impressive, guys. Many bridges are architectural wonders and pieces of art in their own right. Their design often blends functionality with beauty, adding character to landscapes. Some bridges carry historical significance, embodying the heritage and the stories of the places they span. They can become iconic landmarks for cities or regions. Taking drone shots of a bridge often provides breathtaking views of the surrounding landscapes or bodies of water, making the journey itself a memorable experience. So again, bridges are another great place to take the drone with you. Parks. Parks offer a wonderful array of benefits. Parks are often filled with greenery, flowers and wildlife, offering a serene and visually appealing environment. Parks are often designed to showcase natural landscapes, providing a break from filming urban environments. Thoughtful designs and layout enhance a park's beauty. Features such as winding paths, bridges and gazebos complement the natural surroundings and create visually striking scenes. Water features like fountains, ponds or streams often add a tranquil and reflective quality to the park. The play of light and movement can enhance the overall beauty of your drone footage. And on top of that, parks often provide a great vantage point to enjoy stunning sunrises and sunsets. The interplay of colours across the sky and reflecting on the landscape adds beauty to the park. Orbits or circle can achieve some of the best drone footage, allowing you to do a circle around your point of interest. The look this can achieve in your footage can be spectacular. You can control the height and speed that your orbit will travel, but remember, slower is usually better. Just look at some of these orbits I have taken to see the full effect. Reveals. When filming with the drone, I employ these primary reveal shots: the tilt up, the rise and the dolly. For the tilt up, the drone is flown close to the ground with the camera pointing downwards. As it moves forwards or backwards, the camera is still tilted towards the unveil to the scenic view. This shot is particularly captivating when capturing footage over water, creating a stunning visual effect. The rise technique involves starting as close to the ground as possible and approaching an obstacle such as a tree, a mountain or a house head on. Gradually ascending with the drone, you nearly touch the obstacle but continue upwards to reveal the expansive view. This shot is my all-time favourite as it can be challenging to execute, but the rewarding results bring immense satisfaction. In the dolly shot, filming commences from behind a foreground object, like a tree or a house that obstructs the view. The drone is then manoeuvred left or right to navigate around the obstruction, ultimately unveiling the scenic vista. Flyovers. Flyovers are another great way to take cinematic shots on your drone. Aerial flyovers offer a geographical context to emphasise the scale of a subject. This method entails concentrating on a particular object or landscape and filming the camera's movement as it orbits the object from an overhead vantage point. Oblique objects taken at an angle present a distinctive viewpoint of the subject, introducing added diversity and intrigue. Camera settings. Now let's take a look at the camera settings. So for daylight shots, I would keep your ISO as low as possible, somewhere between 100 to 400 for optimal image quality. For your aperture or f-stop, use a small aperture, higher f-number for a larger depth of field. For shutter speed, adjust the shutter speed according to the available light to avoid overexposure. Low light or indoor shots. For this, increase your ISO to compensate for the low light, but be mindful of any noise. Use a higher ISO, say around 800 to 3200 if needed. Aperture, use a wider aperture or lower f-number to allow more light. For the shutter speed, use a lower shutter speed, but be cautious of motion blur. Consider using a tripod for this, guys. So for nighttime shots, we're looking at long exposure, so keep your ISO low to minimize noise. For your aperture, use a smaller aperture, a higher f-number for a longer depth of field. For your shutter speed, use a slow shutter speed for long exposure shots. Use a tripod again to avoid camera shake. For backlit scenes, exposure compensation is a must. Adjust exposure compensation to avoid underexposing the subject. Increase it slightly to brighten up the subject. Now let's take a look at the types of shots you can take. Remember, access to these will depend on the type of drone you have. Types of shots. When it comes to the aperture, use a wide aperture or lower f-number to achieve a shallow depth of field and motion blur the background. For your shutter speed, ensure a fast enough shutter speed to freeze any motion, especially for candid shots. Landscape. For your aperture, use a smaller aperture, a higher f-number for a larger depth of field to keep the entire scene in focus. For your ISO, keep the ISO low for optimal image quality. Again, consider having a tripod for stability, guys, especially in low light. Panoramic. For aperture, keep a moderate aperture setting for a balance between the depth of field and the sharpness. Overlap shots. Ensure there is enough overlap between the shots for smoother stitching in post-processing. Again, use a tripod, guys, to maintain a consistency and avoid misalignment. Action and tracking shots. Shutter speed. For this, use a fast shutter speed to freeze fast moving objects. Use continuous focus to enable continuous autofocus to track moving objects. Burst mode. Use burst mode to capture a series of shots in a quick succession. Now let's talk about editing tips. Now, I don't call myself an expert yet, as I am new to doing the YouTube scene, but I'll talk about how I put my footage together and the software that I currently use. So the first thing I do is I get my footage all together in one folder, usually splitting the folder into footage, music, images and B-rolls. Before I pick the music, I make sure I take a look at the footage so I can get a feel as to what type of music will be suitable. Will it be slow and calm, or will it be fast and beaty? This will be down to the type of footage you take. Take a look at these shots to see what I mean. See the difference there? Good, right? Once I have the music, I then split this into beats first before adding any footage. Adding your footage to the beat of the music will have a great effect on the final results. Make sure you choose the aspect ratio you will be editing your footage in. This will be down to the platform you will be uploading your content to, but you may have to make different versions for different platforms, so please keep this in mind. I then proceed to make any cuts to the footage, trying to remove any jerky footage, keeping just the main scenes that I had recorded, again to make any cuts in line with the beat of the music. I then add any B-roll that I wish to add to the footage. B-roll really helps tell the story and is something I'm working on to get better at myself. Do I do well in this video? Tell me what you think in the comments, guys. Next, we will look at adding any transitions, any effects, both visual and sound, Again, adding to the effect of the story that you are going to be telling to the people that are going to be watching your video. And then last, any colour grading, but remember not to overdo this. I have had some of my footage turn out very pink, for example, when I've got the colour grading wrong. Maybe ask somebody that you know that to take a look and tell you what they think. Any tips with colour grading, I'm all ears, guys. Please feel free to leave them in the comments. Then once you are happy with the results, export your footage ready to upload to your favourite platform. Now, as far as for what software to use, there are many different types to choose from, ranging from easy to complex and from free to paid. But me personally, I currently use the free version of CapCut. It's both free and easy to use, yet still get very professional results from. I'll leave a link in the description for you to download. Now you're done and ready. Well, almost. Now let's take a look at legal and safety considerations. Legal and safety considerations for drones in the UK are essential to ensure responsible and safe use of the unmanned aerial vehicles. As of my last knowledge, updated in January 2023, the regulations might have been updated, so it's crucial to check for the latest information from relevant authorities. Here is a general outline of the drone legal and safety considerations here in the UK. Registration and licensing. Drone users must register their drones with the Civil Aviation Authority, or CAA, if the drone weighs more than 250 grams. Operators must obtain a flyer ID and pass a competency test if they wish to fly drones weighing between 250 grams and 20 kilograms. Drone categories. Different regulations apply to different categories of drones based on their weight and their purpose, for example, recreation or commercial. Specific rules exist for open, specific and certified categories. Drone operation zones. Drones must not be flown near airports or airfields, and specific restrictions apply to certain areas designed as no-fly zones. Keep a safe distance from people, buildings and vehicles. Visual line of sight, VLOS. Operators must maintain a visual line of sight with the drone during the entire flight, unless using specific technologies like first-person view, FPV systems. Altitude restrictions. Drones should not fly above 400 feet or 120 meters above ground level. Privacy and data protection. Respect individuals' privacy and adhere to data protection laws when using drones and capturing images or videos. Avoid flying over private property without permission. Insurance. Operators are encouraged to have liability insurance to cover potential damages or accidents by their drones. Strict no-fly zones exist, particularly around sensitive areas such as government buildings, military installations and critical infrastructure. Emergency service and air traffic control. Drone operators must give way to manned aircraft and follow instructions from air traffic control. Emergency service should be notified if flying near incidents or emergency situations. Night flying. Special permissions may be required for flying drones at night. Educational and commercial use. Different rules and regulations may apply to recreational and commercial drone use. Commercial operators may need specific permissions and follow additional guidelines. Criminal offences. Engaging in illegal activities using drones such as smuggling or violating privacy is a criminal offence. Drone users in the UK should stay updated on any changes to regulations and adhere to the guidelines provided by the Civil Aviation Authority or any other relevant authorities. Failure to comply with these regulations may result in fines, legal consequences or restrictions on drone use. Well, that's it guys. That concludes my hot drone cinematography tips. I really hope you enjoyed it and find it useful. If you do, then please give me a like and a subscribe. to be alerted when I release my YouTube video uploads. Feel free to either check out my playlist or recommended video in the end credits. And that final big tip, guys, is really a simple one, and that's to practice, practice and practice. The more you are out there taking drone footage, the better you will get, and it's just that simple. So until next time, guys, happy droning.